Hey, it's Molly. Welcome back to my YouTube channel as we take a look at the Scorpio new moon happening on November 13th at 4:27 a.m. That's Eastern time. So be sure and adjust for your location on the planet. This new moon is occurring with the sun and the moon at 20 degrees of Scorpio, 43 minutes. So we round up to 21 degrees. And you want to identify this placement in your chart because 21 degrees of Scorpio is where a new cycle is beginning for you with these energies. The new moon is when the sky is the darkest, when there is pure potential, and when there is a deep mystery that's lingering in the air, especially with Scorpio energies. Now, this particular new moon is supercharged, as you can probably see, with both the sun and the moon conjunct this Mars at 22 degrees of Scorpio, and all three planets opposing Uranus at 21 degrees of Taurus retrograde. So there is volatility here. There is recklessness. There is perhaps the energy of this Mars really being triggered, angered, impatient. This is where it's very important to stay tuned in to your emotional body and to look at what is going on here within me at a much deeper level. What fear is rising? What part of myself is coming alive? And that's the more positive understanding of this energy, is that there's powerful activations here. And they're happening in a way that could be uncomfortable, could be very emotional or intense. There's also, with this Mars conjunct the sun and moon, a desire for movement, a desire to take charge. Where are you ready to take charge of something in a new way in your life? A new way to approach something head on, to face it, to look at it, to have the strength and courage to understand more of perhaps what has been controlling you, what has been energetically running through you. And with the opposition to Uranus, it could be something that's reflected back to you that you disassociated from, that you pushed away, that you said, no, that's not me, that's them. And this Uranus can provide a mirror to the self. Now, all three of these are personal planets. All three of these are connected with your own motivations, desires, a truth that's emerging, something that maybe you've been afraid to understand. Maybe it's had too much emotional intensity around it. And this Uranus is saying, that's it. That's the ticket. That's what will set you free. But you do have to be willing to look at something, to objectively assess it. And Uranus in Taurus pulls us out of these emotional depths of Scorpio and could bring something up that you're seeing in a new way, in a new light, or through some new angles. And I feel like there's something where you're meant to set yourself free from whatever's been holding you back, almost like sinking your energy. This energy can be quite complex because the Scorpio energy, it's a fixed water. And fixed water, it will spin and spin and spin. It can also then freeze as a fixed form. It could be something as frozen or has been frozen within you, within your psyche, within your energy. Maybe there's a fear that's been holding you back, keeping you frozen, keeping you at a standstill. And this new moon is going to liberate that. And it probably will do so powerfully because of the Mars energy here opposing Uranus. And so even though this new moon is exact on November 13th, the energy is building 2 days before and at least a day after as each of these planets will make an exact opposition to Uranus at 21 Taurus. So there's a lot here that's being stirred up that can be shocking and uncomfortable at first. But as the planets progress through Scorpio after this new moon, they meet up with a trine to Neptune at 25 Pisces retrograde, which is your higher self tuning you into the bigger perspective, what you're learning, what you're healing, where you can even take action or see something from a bigger, more loving, more compassionate perspective. And this could also be an overpowering message from your higher self of what to move towards, what to put energy into, where to focus, where to get things done and make moves. So this is actually a supportive trine that is helping to direct all of this energy. And it feels both physical and emotional. It feels quite energetic. And as we ascend even more, our intentionality becomes more and more important. And so if something is rising in you, what is the higher path, the higher road? What is a way to direct the energy where you can feel that your soul is giving you 2 thumbs up? That's the way to do it. That's the way to go. Perhaps you could even feel locked in to some kind of back and forth, almost like that pinball or a tennis ball that just keeps going back and forth, and the energy needs to open up. And so it can open up into this Neptune in Pisces, which is your soul's wisdom and the higher self understanding of what is best for you. It's interesting because the Pisces energy can let things be, can step away. Sometimes that is just disappearing, not engaging, not participating, not showing up. So what I'm feeling here is that if you're involved in any kind of struggle, if you're experiencing any kind of contentious energies that maybe are obsessive, right? And that are maybe like all consuming, and it's filling up your energy field, filling up your aura, filling up your mind and everything within you. This connection to Neptune and Pisces is asking you to look at how to detach from that struggle in a way that serves you, that could be different than what you've done before. Because just like that ping pong of something going back and forth that could even be not only impatient, but almost like too much ego or too much emotional energies involved. This can be very explosive. This is emotionally explosive. This can be someone who feels very unsafe, who's very chaotic, who is very reactionary and impulsive and can't get a handle on themselves. And here's this Neptune opening up the flow to do something a different way, a higher way that would set you free from anything that feels like it's going back and forth but going nowhere. And so the planets here in Scorpio are going to each connect with this Neptune and Pisces after this new moon, after their exact opposition to Uranus. Then you tune in, get quiet, listen, allow the information and guidance to come through. A few days after this new moon, on November 17th, the sun and the moon are going to be exactly conjunct at 24 degrees of Scorpio and trine this Neptune, which will also be at 24 degrees of Pisces. So This opens up something for you to acknowledge, to own, to understand in yourself. And then as these energies strengthen their connection to Neptune and Pisces, you could soften in your reflexes, soften into something that actually serves you better energetically and helps to move whatever this emotional turmoil or whatever is intense. Now, for some people, this might just show up as something that you're really driven to do. You have a lot of passion for it. You're ready. You're energized. You're ready to make moves and progress it forward. And that would be the more productive and healthier use of this energy. But I'm feeling like there could be some very deep, unconscious messages that come alive here. And it also feels like they could be from another time and place, another lifetime. This could trigger up what is unfinished or has been unfinished in past lives that you're feeling in our parallel timelines of experiences, of energies, that something, it feels very multidimensional, that there's a multidimensional trigger here that you're learning to work with. And what I'm seeing is that it could even feel like something is happening across multiple timelines at once, and it's alive and very powerful in this timeline, and you're approaching it, you're dealing with it, it sets you off, like there's something that comes up that you're looking at, and you're willing to move through it in a way that supports your strength and your own ascension journey. And I feel like it's interesting. I'm just feeling like there's something across 3 or 5 timelines, 3 or 5 soul experiences that you're taking care of at once. And that's why it feels so damn big, because you're working with something across multiple timelines at the same time. I'm also feeling like if you work with, say, the Akashic records or past life retrieval or any type of energy exercises that connect you with your soul's experiences, this is a new moon where you can clear the decks. You can clear something out powerfully. You can end anything that, again, has been stuck or going back and forth. You could even have a sense that you're done with something because it's an energy leak. It's draining you. It's disempowering and it's exhausting. And so keep in mind that there's a lot of energies here that we're not going to understand with the rational mind. And as these 3 planets in Scorpio move forward, as I said, they trine this Neptune and then they sextile this Pluto at 28 degrees of Capricorn for the last time in our life. And as each of these planets in Scorpio connects with Pluto, I feel that there's some kind of affirmation or confirmation of what you've powerfully shifted. You could feel with this new moon, and a week after the new moon, so November 13th to, let's say, November 20th, you could have a real turning over of the energy. You could feel this huge relief. You could feel, I'm really done with that. I'm really finished with that person who won't leave me alone. I'm done with the person who stirs up stuff that isn't true only for attention. I'm done with the energy dynamic here because I'm worth more. I know I'm complete with this. Whatever someone else chooses is their own sovereignty, is their own energy and action. But what you're choosing for yourself can be strengthening and empowering when you're ready to claim whatever your healing, your lessons, your responsibilities were. And this Pluto knows that. Pluto in Capricorn has been holding us responsible for our energy in all ways. The good, the bad, the ugly, the uncomfortable, the vulnerable, the weaknesses, the things we don't like. and wants us to strengthen that. So there is some kind of turning over of the energy with this new moon, and you're going to feel it. And I'm seeing it too as something spinning differently in our DNA. Something that is being, it's like, I'm getting the visual of a washing machine that's just spinning and spinning. And as it spins, it gets rid of all the dirt and muck and debris and stains and heaviness. And it all is getting thrashed about, but that's the cleansing process. And there's something here where you're cleaning your soul of something. You're cleansing your soul of something. And as I say that, I'm getting the visual of whatever you're putting now in the washing machine. It gets stirred up in order to get cleansed. It gets triggered in order to know where that stain is. The stain on your soul. I feel like this is where I need to have an infomercial come on. And there could be that need to let me just bleach everything. Let me clear it out. Well, but if you do that, you then disconnect from the wisdom of what you've been learning. The wisdom you've been perhaps learning through some really hard knocks. Like, we know these past few years have been a lot and been trying. And we've been pushed into new places of our energy, but we've kept going. We've gotten stronger. There's more fortitude. There's more determination and confidence here. There's more of a sense of, I know I've got this, even if it's really big at times. This is a new moon that will ultimately power you up and will help with the cleansing and the purging of whatever you feel has stained your energy, of whatever you feel has been, deeply ingrained or really tangled up. Because with Scorpio energies, there is a deep bonding that happens with the energy, and that can be so healthy, right? This is where there can be healthy connections that strengthen because you're both showing up equally and in your power, but with vulnerability. And that's part of the flip side of Scorpio is that, when we understand our needs and we can show up and relate with an awareness of what we need, who we are, your personal truth, when you understand your vulnerabilities and your emotional world and how you take responsibility for that, that elevates connections. That makes you safer. But until that happens, there can almost be like this fear of danger, like someone who's dangerous with their energy, dangerous with their words and their untruths or their manipulation or their lies or their obsession or how they show up and all of that, right? You get the point. But this can be a cleansing of that energy for yourself. And I feel like you might intuitively know it, and it means you have to do something differently to remain in your sovereign power and to remain connected to what you've learned along the way. Because going back to this Pluto here, which is one of the ruling planets of Scorpio. See, Scorpio is ruled by Mars, which is strongly featured in the chart, and Pluto. Pluto wants you to turn a page on something that this Mars has been carrying. It's almost like, again, putting it in the washing machine to get rid of something that you don't want to engage in or participate in because you're leveling up in some way and you're saying, you know what, I want more meaningful bonds. I want more meaningful connections. And that's what Scorpio desires, is the deeper truths, the ability to show up with a truth. So what truth is coming through loud and clear for you that is helping to set you free? And this Mercury at 4 degrees of Sag has been squaring this Saturn now direct at 0 degrees of Pisces. So it could be mentally exhausting with this square to Saturn. It could be something that you haven't wanted to face or accept. It could be something that's been mentally draining. As this Mercury moves forward, he moves out of the way of this Saturn holding you responsible for your energy in all ways. And this Mercury is in a sextile to Venus at 5 degrees of Libra, allowing you to access a balancing point that involves your self-acceptance and your self-love, that helps you detach from other people's stuff. This is a return to sender. This is a take responsibility energy. That's not mine. And I'm not going to engage, and I'm not going to participate, and I'm not going to be a part of it. That's what this energy is showing you. Where do you need to cut ties, cut strings, set yourself free because of your own level of empowerment? Now, this doesn't have to be a person. It can be your own patterns. It can be something within yourself that you haven't been able to see, and then a situation comes up around the new moon and reflects it back to you through other people or through something, and it shows you what you don't want anymore and what you're ready to purge. Scorpio energy can require us to dig in to what is toxic, what has been infiltrated, where the energy is no longer your truth. It's no longer what you want. And with strong Scorpio, something needs to end to make way, to make space for a new level of freedom. And so there could, again, be some very important choices you're making, decisions you're making, things you're ending. Maybe you're done with certain addictions. Maybe you're done with certain habits or patterns. Maybe you're done with something that doesn't feel good to your body. You know, maybe you're changing parts of your eating or your drinking habits. And you're like, I'm not going to drink alcohol anymore, or I'm not going to overconsume sugar, or I'm not going to, distract myself with something else because I can't deal with the truth. And this is the universe saying, you're strong enough to see this. You're strong enough to own this. You're more powerful than you've led yourself to believe. You're more powerful. And that's what this is about. And it's moving you forward in some way that is designed to bring clarity. So of course, this is going to be different for everyone and resonate differently. But the overarching theme here is looking at what you're ready to purge and complete, where you're ready to turn a page, because you're more aware of your energy and your power. And there's something here that can be uncomfortable at first, an uncomfortable awareness, that you then move to your higher self that understands why it's happening, what you're shifting and changing across multiple timelines and parallel time experiences. And then Pluto, that shows you what a badass you are to take on this, to purge it, to deeply transform it, and to make a new vow or pledge to yourself. I'm not going back to that. I'm not doing that again. I have outgrown that version of myself. And that's something that you can powerfully claim. So this is quite an intense Scorpio new moon. It's the first new moon after the Taurus lunar eclipse, but this still is eclipsy. This is still an eclipsy energy with the Mars-Uranus opposition exactly conjunct the new moon. So I feel like there are still going to be some reverberations here of feeling like we're in eclipse season as we move into November and through the rest of Scorpio season. Now, if you want to get a heads up on 2024, the major astrology of 2024 is available to you in a brand new program I have that goes through all the eclipses of next year, through the powerful shifts of Pluto moving into Aquarius. This is my biggest presentation on this topic. It's the energy that's going to open up that we'll be working with into 2044. We discuss what will happen when Jupiter goes into Gemini, why June is a very big month for Venus and her manifestations. We look at the upcoming Mars retrograde in late 2024, plus the Mercury retrogrades. We're going to have Sedna move in to Gemini, conjunct Jupiter. Jupiter will trine Pluto. We have a galactic grand trine that is evolving us as a species, that is evolving us in ways we can't even fathom. So lots of big energies in 2024. Come over, check it out. Use the coupon code 2024 and get the whole thing for $33. Hey, this is my infomercial. Okay, there we go. I just got you that infomercial I thought I was going to mention about bleach or cleaning products. Anyways, thank you so much for joining me. Appreciate your time, energy, and presence. And I hope that this Scorpio new moon really rocks out some things for you in a really empowering way. Thank you for your likes, your comments, your shares, and thank you for sharing this with others who may benefit from the information as well. I'll be back here soon.